Hey, what's up, guys? We're at Heart of the Game right now with TJ, and we're getting his deck profile from the Rochester Regional that we recently had, where he got top 32 with branded Chimera. Before we get in the deck profile, do you have any shout-outs that you want to do?
Shout out to Heart of the Game, shout out to my boy MetaGamesGX over here, shout out to Winner Kills, shout out to my homies over that I test a lot with, primarily Adam, Connor, Dan, Lucas, Joan. That's it.
Alright, sounds good. Let's get into it.
Alrighty.
Is it 41 cards? 40 main?
40.
40, okay.
40 card main.
Cool.
So, obviously we start with the 3 Sword Knight, 3 Corn. This is standard. I only play 2 Gazelle, we'll get into why I only play 2 later, and 2 Baphomet. You don't really need more than 2 of the Baphomet. The 3rd Gazelle can sometimes come up, but I don't think it's as important, especially in this build, which is more combo-centric.
Yes.
So I'm playing 2 Albaz. Again, this will come up when we get to later cards. 1 Aliber.
Okay.
1 Kit. This is why we don't play the 3rd Gazelle, because this is our primary search target on turn 1 for Baphomet when we resolve the Brand Diffusion combo, and 1 QUEM.
Okay, that's really spicy.
QUEM is part of the end board. So in the end board with the Brand Diffusion, when you have the Rinbrum and the Mirror Jade, you can Mirror Jade, descend Titaniclad, negate it with Rinbrum, and then bring this out to dump Albaz. So that way you can bring back the Albaz when you dump a Rinbrum or fuse with it, and then you can bring back the Mirror Jade when you fuse with the Mirror Jade and Mirror Jade again.
Yes, I really appreciate you running QUEM because I think that play is very good and very valuable for the deck.
Then we run the Frightfur package, so I play 2-3-2. I don't
How are you
think
liking the Frightfur package?
I think this package is great. It helps facilitate plays when you don't normally otherwise have any, when you might just be bricked on something like hand traps, which I don't think you need to run too many of in this deck.
Yeah.
It has an easy enough time breaking the board, and you have side decks for that, of course. I'm sorry. Who placed 1 place below me? 3 opening and 3 Brand Diffusion, so this is obviously why we play the Aliber. You can recycle the Aliber, but this can also just summon QUEM, so you don't need more than 1 Aliber. Aliber is a brick, you don't want to normal summon it. Brand Diffusion is your best starter card because it just gets you into full combo.
How do you like the opening in the deck? Because I've been seeing some people cut more of the branded cards, but I still think the engine's quite good.
I do like the opening because, like I said, this is your primary opening play that you want to start with, so the more copies of this you play, the better off you are.
Okay, sounds good. And then would you play the openings without the QUEM?
I would still play it without the QUEM, yeah.
Okay.
1 Branded in White for the kit play. Then we play only the 2 Chimera Fusion. I found that with 3, I was just even though it's a good card to open, opening it with nothing else just makes it so much worse, where this could just be other cards.
Yeah.
Then.
So you wouldn't go to 3?
What?
You wouldn't go to 3 in your build?
I tried it with 3. I don't hate it with 3, but I don't love it with 3 either. It's one of those things where I was on the fence about it for the event, and I ended up going with only 2.
Okay. But you didn't miss it?
No, I didn't miss it, ever. Then we play 3 Crossout, 1 Called By, and then for our Crossout targets, we play 2 Ash, 1 Droll, 1 Imperm, and 1 Eradicator.
Okay, so you're going to have to run this by me. So, do you just... The Eradicator.
The Eradicator is, I'm very scared of just auto-losing to something like Labyrinth, and I know for a while that Kashtira was playing this card as well, whereas I don't want this card to just get flipped on me and I lose the game.
Yeah.
That and the other theory behind this is it's a card that I can actively draw and resolve, because all of the fusions for Albaz that I play minus the Lubellion are 2,500 darks.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really good in that respect. Did you, so there's no other hand traps or board breakers in the main deck. Did you, are you happy with that ratio since it's a 40 card deck?
I was very happy with these ratios. This deck was really well thought out and planned way in advance. I'd been playing this deck since the cards for the Illusion stuff came out.
Yup.
And I felt like this was the strongest build I could take going into that event, especially because I expected a lot of people to be on more hand traps, and just having more gas helps you play through hand traps, and having when a lot of people are expecting hand traps, I also tend to play more around them.
Okay. Let's get into the extra then.
Yeah, extra deck. So we're playing the 2 Chimera, King of Phantom. Some people have been on 3. I think 2 is fine enough because sometimes I don't even summon the second one, and if I do need to summon the second one, it's fine. I don't think I need a third one unless it's like against like Cash or something. Then the one big guy, this guy won me quite a few games. This guy is just like if Boral Sword had like a new version for fusions.
You go into him though, because I know some people who just like it doesn't come up very often.
Yeah, I do summon this. There was one time I summoned this against our boy Tiny here, where I made it with 4 materials just against Sword Soul. I went swing, make your thing 0, swing 3 more times, and it was just game.
Yeah, that's really good.
1 Magnum. This card is like one of the best cards in the deck.
Why do you say that?
So it's a Fiend, which is very important in this deck because it's something you can use to make the Chimera after you've used its effects, or it's something you can bring back using the Chimera. So this is just really good recursion. It helps put back like your polymerizations to make sure that your patchworks are live. It puts back Chimera fusions if you're into multiple. It's also an interrupt that works with a lot of other cards in the deck because just everything can proc this.
Yeah.
Only the 1 Guardian Chimera. There was only.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was only one time during the regional where I missed having the second one. That's when I played against DB Grinder, and I just sat there for a couple turns with like 4 cards in hand because I couldn't do anything because I didn't have the second Chimera.
Would you run the second Chimera now, given that, or do you think it doesn't?
I don't think it comes up enough, and I think in that matchup, even if I had made it, a lot of the times I would have been making it would have been doing draw 2, and I just don't think there were enough cards that I could have drawn to in that scenario while forfeiting the other cards that would have worked well together.
Sure.
Like forfeiting the other cards was not.
It's a tight fit.
Yeah, it's a tight fit. 1 Dracostopalia. I don't think I really need to explain this one. It's a fusion deck. 2 Rinbrum, so I make 1. I play 1 to summon and 1 to send off the Mirror Jade because because since I do the QUEM play, being able to send this off the Mirror Jade is what allows me to use Albaz as an interruption, and I can bring back the Mirror Jade with the QUEM if I fuse it off to make like Guardian Chimera.
Yeah.
So it just adds extra layers of interruption to the board.
Do you have a combo with QUEM that you could show off?
Yeah, I'll show it off as soon as we're done going through the extra inside. 2 Albion. Again, this was kind of like one of those to make them, one of those to send kind of deals.
Yeah, makes sense.
1 Lubellion, you only ever really need 1. The only time this is problematic is if you're playing against Cash. 1 Mirror Jade, again, the only time it's a problem is if you play Cash. I do play the 1 Albalenitus. The reason I was worried with some of our players going that I was afraid of Dragon Link. I know some of our players that were going were taking it, and I wasn't sure how much I would see it, so I just wanted to have a backup plan.
Did it ever come up?
I did summon it once in my final round. I played against Subterror, and I fused off their Guru with my Albaz.
Oh, okay, got it.
Then the 1 Titaniclad, because this is part of the combo. Like I said, you dump it to summon QUEM. And then I always wanted to have a target that I could summon off of Albaz, so I played the 1 copy of Sprint.
Really spicy.
Then for the side deck, it was 2 Nibiru's. I thought 2 was enough, and I didn't end up seeing any amounts of Unchained, which is what I primarily had this in for. The other 2 copies of Droll. So the reason I don't main deck the 3 copies of Droll is because this is not a card you actively want to see when you're going first. This is a card that you're normally going to want to resolve it much later in your turn than you would like because you want to be able to resolve Guardian Chimera, and this just stops you from resolving Guardian Chimera completely because you need to be able to draw.
That makes sense. Good point.
2 Santa Claus, so it's a Fiend and it's a light, so the Fiend made sure that it worked for the fusion for Chimera, and then it being a light made sure that it worked for Albion, so I wasn't burning more resources into Lubellion.
That's amazing.
So that was the only reason I played this over Radiant.
Got it. Smart.
King Tiger Wanghu, I think everyone kind of knows what this does in this deck now.
It's even more nuts with the next support.
Yeah. 2 Thrust, 1 Talons. I felt like this was enough. Then 3 evenly, and then since I'm playing the 2 Thrust, I only played the 2D barriers.
Did you like your Thrust package on top of the evenlies and the barriers? They really did everything you needed.
I think the only thing I might have changed as part of that package would have potentially been to put the Herald of the Abyss in, just to deal with Pearly better. But other than that, the package was super solid.
Do you remember your matchups from that day?
So round 1, I got the unofficial bye, as in my opponent signed up and then didn't show up. Round 2, I played against DB Grinder. He was on Pearly. I lost that matchup 1-2. Round 3, I played against our friend Tiny. He was on Sword Soul. I won that matchup 2-1. I won that game because I thrusted a D-barrier.
Nice.
Round 4 and 6 are the ones I get confused, so I'll just go over those both right now. Between 4 and 6, I ended up playing Exo Sister and Marincess. I won both of those matchups 2-1. Round 5, I played against our friend Kevin, who was on Vanadium. I misplayed game 1, which cost me the game. He misplayed game 3, which ended up in me taking the game and taking the match 2-1. Round 7, I played against Chimera. Game 3, my opponent just had everything. I lost that one, so I was 1-2 on that one. And then the final round, round 8, I played against Guru Control, where Guru, being a dragon, came up. We played a 35-minute game 1.
I was gonna say, did you go time on that game?
I won just before time was called.
Damn. Okay, well, do you want to show me that combo quickly? Because I think people will be asking for the QUEM combo for sure.
So it's really just brand diffusion. The rest of your hand could be anything. You just need at least one one thing to put back and one thing to discard. So I'm just gonna go with these. So you go for the branded fusion as per normal. You send off your Albaz and your Gazelle. You make your Rinbrum. I tend to do it in the extra monster zone. You proc your Gazelle. So this is where I messed up in my game with Kevin, is I didn't have a way to insulate against Droll, so I ended up adding the Corn instead of the Sword Knight when I had a Chimera Fusion in my hand. But normally I would add Corn if I'm not too worried about Droll. Then Corn for the Sword Knight. Sword Knight gets you into Baphomet. Then Baphomet obviously gets you your add 2, which gets you the Chimera Fusion and your kit. So since you control a monster that lists Albaz, you summon the kit. The kit effect activates, so you get your branded in white. You can just put one of your blank cards back. Then you Chimera Fusion, because you have a Beast and a Fiend, to summon the Chimera. So you go Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, because we want to chain block this from something like a Bell.
Yep.
So then we can get the Chimera Fusion back. We go for the Branded in White. So Branded in White ends up usually banishing the kit and the Albaz to make Lubellion.
Yep.
Then Lubellion activates, so you would pitch your card. You fuse with the Albaz and the Lubellion to make your Mirror Jade. So now you have your standard setup where you can set this. Any other cards you have in your hand are just extra. I tend to do this this next part during the end phase to scout out for Nibiru, not that that normally matters, because this combo does play into Nibiru. But regardless of whether or not they Nibiru you, you are physically able to play through it because of the QUEM. So you rip a card from their hand with this, you Mirror Jade, you send the Titaniclad, you'll negate it with the Rinbrum, so that'll make it live, the Mirror Jade live for next turn.
Yep.
Then you use the Titaniclad, which gets you into your QUEM. Your QUEM will dump the Albaz that you put back, and then what you have on your opponent's turn is the Rinbrum Interrupt. This will tag out and get you my video, I'm gonna comment.
Alright. So continue.
So, like I said, you have the Rinbrum, the Sword Knight tags into your Baphomet, grabs your Gazelle and your other fusion. Then you can, you have your Mirror Jade, you can Chimera Fusion with the Gazelle in your hand, the Baphomet, whatever, make your Guardian Chimera, which will proc the QUEM to bring back the Mirror Jade. You can, and hypothetically, you dumped Rinbrum for your first dump, so you have the Rinbrum in the grave to target the Albaz to fuse with.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that a lot.
And that's why I say that this kind of plays through Nibiru in a sense, is that, okay, sure, you get Nibiru, this is going to wipe the Nibiru in the end phase.
Yep.
This will still be able to bring back the Mirror Jade when a thing leaves the extra deck. This will be able to summon your Baphomet from the graveyard, which will trigger, and then you'll be able to fuse off to proc this, and then you can still send the Rinbrum to be able to fuse with Albaz. So even though this combo is very hard playing in Nibiru, it is very strong in the ways it's able to play.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I had a lot of people actually ask about QUEM combos, so I appreciate that. And you have a very nice build, so I appreciate you showing it all off.